I'm going to start the meeting of the Architectural Review Board. It is 7 p.m. on Tuesday, January 18th. I'm going to go through and first introduce our members of the board. We have David Humphrey, our Vice Chair, Sean Brown, David Riley, Sherry Green, Marion Castell, also Town Historian, Leslie McCauley, and Alex Levitinsky. Becca Morrison, and Anya Janice, our newest member. So starting off today, guys. ARB number 38, 2021, Van Leeuwen Ice Cream. This is a continuation from December. So applicants, you guys are kind of familiar. You can set the stage. But introduce yourself again, and your company and your role in the project before you go in for us.
Sure. I am Julie Brock, B-R-O-C-K. I'm the tenant coordinator for Federal Realty. And I'm actually representing the tenant tonight, Van Leeuwen. They don't have a local rep, and really this study was kind of a landlord ask anyway and just on our behalf to show you guys scale and sort of perspective of their proposed last month's signage package.
Right. If you don't mind, do you mind me giving a quick recap? I don't want to step, or are you going to do that?
Yeah, no, you go for it. No,
okay, I don't want to step on your toes, but as we kind of wash off the New Year's champagne.
Do it.
So we saw they presented like the internal lit, awning, and it was extended, I think further than we liked, and we requested that I'm going to bring that back to about 3 feet or less than that. And then also the other thing that we love the sign itself. The other issue we had is the blade sign, right? It was really scaled large, it was thick, it was illuminated, and it was sat high on the building. So we said to go back and do a study of that and come back and
here we are again.
So that's where we are.
So there are a couple of options in there. You'll see it's the original proposed. Now, I think if you recall, they did have, by accident, their blade sign set too high. It was, per the guidelines, we really want it around 7.6 or 8 feet above the finished sidewalk. So we pushed that down and are showing that now in the perspective, in the street view. We're showing two options. We're actually showing their original, which with the 3-foot extended eyebrow and the 3-foot ice cream cone logo. As they originally presented it, we've taken away the internal illumination, which so that will no longer be, but it will still be their ice cream cone logo. And then the second option, we scaled everything back a bit. We show the extension of the eyebrow now at 18 inches, so 1'6" extension. And the ice cream logo is at 2 feet high now, and also then set at the, I believe they have them both set at 8 foot above the finished sidewalk, which, again, last month's was a mistake, set so high. So just to kind of show you perspective of those, they are both within the standard guidelines. It's really just sort of a preference here. I think my personal preference is probably the 1'6" extended eyebrow. And I don't mind the larger ice cream cone logo, to be quite honest. I think scale-wise it works, given the pedestrian and sort of the multiple layers that we're going to have of other people's signage and potential canopies, which of course will come to you guys and review. But I think that works. I think that's sort of the one that's the biggest success visually. And I'm open for opinions on any and all.
So I totally agree with you, and thank you for this exercise.
To
do this,
sure.
To see the perspectives. I agree that the ice cream cone smaller, it starts to get...
You lose it. Yeah.
But I do like that you brought it down. It was up too high.
Yeah.
So that was a good move. So scale-wise, because it's not a blade sign that goes out, it's very vertical and limited. I think it's okay. And I also agree that the eyebrow at 18 inches is much better than the 3-foot.
I agree. Yeah, it serves really no purpose of any sort of rain cover, even at the larger extension. So I totally agree.
So thanks.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And we will, of course, I just want to ensure that all of you all know that we will give these all care per tenant on meeting the criteria and also just the size and the scale. So we'll continue to look at these as they come on board.
Just to recap, so you prefer the eyebrow 1.6 versus 3?
Yes,
Okay, and what did you prefer for
a
the,
larger ice cream cone, the
Okay.
3 foot high.
I agree.
I agree too.
Totally agree.
Same.
Awesome,
I have,
thank you.
I appreciate these renderings too.
Yes,
Really
yeah.
helpful to be able to look down multiple storefronts to see how.
Anytime, yeah.
The only other question I have is, there was some additional signage that Rebecca Morrison and that location, TV, no interior elevations as of yet, and there was 2 or 3 of those signage. I just want to make sure that they're not on windows, that they're actually somewhere within the building.
All interior, yes.
I have one comment about the color. Here, you don't have samples, I said you're not, but it said I've read Benjamin Moore, yellow cake on the canopy. Is this a very accurate printing of what the actual, that rather electric?
That's a good question. It's probably slightly off, given that it's a computer programmed. I'm happy to send over you guys kind of and I have not done a single sort of side-by-side paint chip to what is showing in print. But I'm happy to send over or have them send
Because you
over.
have beautiful soft ice cream colors here, and you have it on, already, the ice cream on the side of the house. To me, that is too harsh to go with the other colors.
It's their
That's
branding.
personal,
It's their logo and branding.
and that's it. So
Yes.
you can't do anything about.
Yeah, that's correct, yeah.
Trying
It's-
to integrate it, you can't really integrate with the ice cream colors.
Yeah,
I don't
unfortunately,
think-
that is their branding.
Okay, all right, that was my.
I like it, but I can send you a chip of that.
Well, no, it would be everybody that, maybe I'm the only one that feels that way somehow. But I felt, to me, the harmony is broken with the other colors in the windows and the ice cream, and all of a sudden this doesn't seem like it fits.
I think it comes full story with the interior of their space as well too, because it is their branding. It does work, so
No,
if
I
you see it,
realize,
their full
okay.
story,
Well, that was
yeah.
my question, it may not be. correct.
Yeah.
What was the name of the color? I actually have a Benjamin Moore hat. on my phone.
Well, they said here, I
Yeah,
looked
you
it
can
up,
look at
it's
that.
called yellow cake.
Yellow.
Cake. They said Benjamin Moore yellow cake. I found it buried down here somewhere, I can't tell you. It's right here, it says paint Benjamin Moore to match farrow and ball, yellow cake semi-gloss. But I
So
don't,
if it's the Pharaoh Bowl,
I don't have the
I'm not
farrow
getting
and ball.
anything.
Farrell and Ball.
Okay, sorry. Technology is failing. So,
Okay.
I have one quick question.
Sure.
And I don't remember back when we first talked about this, but the project documents say 110 Pates Road. What are we doing about the addresses per retail location?
So those have already been submitted,
Yep.
and we're going by a site and address map.
Yeah, there's a whole address, the residential properties, because they'll have a door in a certain spot,
Right.
will all have the same address, depending on which building they're in. So I think on building 1, they'll all be like 124 Heights Road. So the upper apartment's 124 Heights Road, Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3.
And
The Van Leeuwen will be wherever it is, number 81. The next door over, Organica, 84. The next, so each will
But
have
the
a...
address will be 124 Unit 81?
No, this will have an address of 81 Heights Road. The store next to it will be 83 Heights Road.
Okay, that comes back when I think, so 81 needs to be in the glass on the door.
Oh, yes, absolutely, we'll do that, yeah, per,
So, I mean, it's all of them. Every one of them has, when the tenants come, every door every storefront will have to have an address.
Correct, yeah.
And I would
we'll-
say, in my recommendation to you is from federal, is you pick the location and the number so they're the same everywhere.
Actually, we work with the fire department typically on that, just so that there's consistent sort of numbers throughout, so that it's easily legible in case of an emergency. So I usually work with the fire department on big projects like this for that. But
Perfect.
yes, on the agenda to do.
Fantastic. All right, Julie, sorry,
I
sorry,
was
Sharon.
gonna say the GPS is gonna take them to the door, it's not gonna take them to, a name, well, it'll take them to a name now, but the address is where they'll go.
Absolutely, yep, yep.
All right, Julie, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Moving forward, I think we set the standard here with these renderings, right? Renderings. And
Awesome, good.
so if you come back, maybe that sets up for future success, I think.
Yeah, no,
We can
that's
see those
perfect.
again.
Yeah.
And samples, next, I encourage your tenants to bring samples, like hard color samples. So-
I hear you, and I had asked for them as well. too.
Yeah, I know you, yeah, I think you
Yeah.
talked about that. People, they forget, but,
Yes, yeah.
but thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll see you
All
on-
right,
at
so,
the end of this.
last
too,
question
so
for
I'll
you.
be
Do I
following
send
up.
my letter to you, Julie, or to Alejandro?
Send it to Alejandro.
Okay.
And I will then communicate back to them that what the decision was, but the directive can go to them. Great. Thanks, you guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, guys, ARB number 34, we're gonna combine them again, bird code. ARB number 34 and ARB number 37. I'd love you guys all to come up because I feel like we're gonna talk and you guys are gonna have some fun stuff to say. But, each of you. But, again, for the record, can you each go by and state your name and your relationship to the project?
Hello, I'm Jennifer Morgenthau, the architect from Jennifer Morgenthau Architect LLC in Newington.
Can you spell your last name,
please? Yes. Morgenthau.
I'm Jay Klein from Carvey Law. Good evening, everyone. And then Phil and Brandy from Bird Coder here tonight, as is Jackie, probably in the background too. You gave us a lot of good feedback last month, and we stole many of your good ideas, so thank you very much. Jenny's going to walk you through the changes to the building and the signage, and then in his spare time when he's not in the kitchen, Phil's got a bit of a green thumb, so he can walk you through the landscaping too. And I'll shut up for the most part. So and play Vanna White to these guys as they explain their plans. So.
All right, let's start with the. This is a little bit better in the visual. You want me to do back here or here? What's better?
I think that's great. Everyone see that well enough? Or do you want to set up on the table? Anya, can you see from that angle? And Jeremy? Okay, fantastic.
So just really broad strokes. We took a lot of your ideas, and what we ended up doing, all of the awnings have wood underneath, so there's a little bit, difference in material there. We'll get into signage in a few, but the bird code sign is a different color, sort of pop a little bit. We've also, you can't see it in this image, but there's some drawings that you have. On the rear of the building and the side of the building, we have actually added some wood and some brick, kind of break up the color scheme and the materials, give it a little bit of texture.
Right, the feedback there was some of the western facades seemed a little bit
Right.
dry.
So this is the drive-through side, so we've added some wood here. We've also popped out some brick as well. This was wood to begin with, so this is actually going to kind of tie together around the entire building. And then we've also added, this is on the rear of the building, when you're actually driving a car, this is the little order window. We've added some other brick here and some wood as well. So it'll sort of look very much the same all the way around. I think that was pretty much it on that part. If you want to go back to this one. The only other thing that we ended up changing is right here, these windows right here next to this door, that's the point of sale. So we're going to do actually kind of a one-way glass there, so you can't see in, but you can see out. So you're not looking at the point of sale and everything back at house. And that's kind of the major things that were changed from the last time you guys saw it.
Did you mention the wood under the, you did?
Yep, the wood under all the awnings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and also there's a number on the glass door down the corner.
You can't tell, but Sean's smiling under that mask.
I was gonna say.
I got a spec sheet for you as well on the wood.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic.
I think something that I should mention too is in the letter that we sent you all earlier in the month. The pole sign, you said you'd like to see that removed. We did remove that from the site plan, so no more pole signs.
So that's fantastic, fantastic.
I have some questions about this too as well. This is the wood background in here. And then
Yes,
at night,
it's right here.
it's black at night. This says it shows it in the nighttime.
That's black lighting.
And that is just black lighting on it?
I think it's just a black background
It's
to
just
show.
black, but
Yeah, it would
but
still be,
is-
yeah,
it
it would
is
still be the wood.
It is wood across behind there.
Correct. I think that
Just
visual
wanna
was
verify
just showing the glow.
Okay, we have more paper here. I have to also say once more again, to my way of thinking, you've mixed wood and brick and metal, and to me, it doesn't, again, it bothers me a little bit. It doesn't talk, it doesn't have music about those, the way they mix a little bit, and everyone wants to have a black building now. That's the new thing right now. And then what's gonna be in 10 years? It's gonna be very dated. But I know they have it in Hartford. I mean, they have a similar building.
The,
The bird cage.
yes, the restaurant in West Hartford?
Code, excuse me.
Yes. Yes.
Well, that's gonna happen, but anyway, that's just one person's reaction. It doesn't seem united somehow or other. It's just too many different textures.
Well, at least from the front, going with that, you also have some glass to sort of, pick up on that. I think when you're actually looking at it, when it's, when there are people in it, there's different, at night it'll be a little bit more lit on the inside that will sort of offset that, but
Or just-
also during the day, I think it will, the windows will
Just
break
keep
that up
the-
a lot.
Just keep the brick and the metal instead of bringing the wood. I don't know. Anyway,
I actually think the wood softens it, and putting the wood underneath the awnings really made a big difference.
No.
I agree. I
So
think that was a
I
really good
actually liked
idea.
it doing so that. it
Just for
feels
clarification, the brick is existing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And that's the other thing, we want to
completely
kind of
brick
retain
building.
some of the, existing features of the building that's already there.
Is the red on the doors, powder coated doors, is that a different color than the logo, the bird
I hope
logo?
not.
No, it is the same size.
Is it
Yeah,
the same color?
same color.
Okay, all right, I couldn't
Yeah.
tell on this.
It might look a little bit different because of the way that these 3D renderings are
Right.
done, sometimes with the artificial light, some things will pop out a little bit differently. But these two colors are supposed to be the same.
Can you cleanly recap what you did with the signage, the change you made to the wall sign? And then
Do you want to speak to that?
Any other questions, sorry guys, on the facade part? Okay, we'll go back to landscaping, but, okay.
So last time we had a black sign with the red halo. We went in and moved away from that. We went to the white with the red bird, but the lighting is all light white. Those are the only changes made. Obviously, as you said earlier, the pole sign was removed as well.
Could you say that again? The lighting is what?
It's white. It's rather than, like I said, it had the real dark red last time, for a more light, single tone as well.
And that was, the board requested that, if you guys
Yes.
recall. We suggested a white light. That's great, okay. And the pole sign was removed.
And the pole sign was removed.
Hey, Sean?
And the address is on the building too.
Yeah.
I made sure.
See, we took something away and then we gave something, right?
Fantastic,
Does the
fantastic.
light
You don't
come from
understand the
below?
argument that occurred in the.
Oh, no, the light comes from behind.
It's
It's behind it, yeah, it's haloed.
pushing through the.
Yeah, so it'll reflect around the wood.
whole. It's a halo, I
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Any questions there, guys?
No, I like it.
All right, let's talk landscaping. Our resident landscape architect is back, and she's gonna beat the crap out of you. We're gonna get I'm just kidding.
Unfortunately, my engineer couldn't be here today. We all know how COVID's going around. So I'll do the best I can to walk through with you and kind of go from there. So what we did is we revisited after last time we revisited other properties here in Darien. We looked at Shake Shack, for example, and what you approved with them. And then we took in consideration, obviously, the comments you had made. The first and foremost, you asked about the numbers in terms of trees last time. We are taking away 9 trees, and we are adding 19 total trees. So it's a considerable increase on that end. Secondary to that, we're
Adding
using
19 what trees?
19 total trees.
Total.
Total. Yeah. I'm sorry, 17. I do math again. 17 total trees. The main reason on adding additional trees is you requested you wanted more screening in the rear of the property.
Yeah.
So we added the 9 evergreen Concolor firs. So we're looking at, year-round, evergreen, wide base, minimum 12 foot in height. So pretty significant screening on the back end for the neighbors there.
And they're going in at 12 feet?
Yeah, we're gonna put them in at 12 feet.
Fantastic.
Is that on the plan, the height
Yep.
noted on the plan?
The height is not noted on the plan, but we can add that.
We'll add that. for the-
We'll absolutely add that. We can add all the spec on all that stuff. The other thing we did is we added the trees on the road line. So again, we took your approved trees. We added 4 additional trees. There's a 5th one that's currently there. With those, we picked 2 different species as well. We did not go evergreen though. We were trying to keep that in the back.
Yep.
Additionally, in the parking lot, we took down 3 trees, but we added 4 with the islands that we're putting in. So what we were looking for with the island is a good 12-foot tree, grass as well, curved in, with that. And kind of the final 2 things I will note is coming around the corner here in the drive-through, we added a bunch of rhododendrons that we expect to be about 3.5 feet. The reason we were doing that, again, we were talking about screening as cars are coming around that drive-through, absorbing that light. And then the final piece, so essentially the entrance, we were looking for more of, I was gonna say like a layered approach. We wanted some, shorter plants and kind of going up with a tree in the middle, somewhat like what Shake Shack looks like currently. So we were looking for that as well. Again, like I said, different species of trees. And I think that's the main, I'm sorry. On the back side here with the drive-through, we did add a burning bush. We wanted some height to block people sitting on the patio. If there's a car there behind them, want a little bit of that. We also wanted to add a little bit of color. And you notice with the trees as well, we picked stuff that, the leaves are turning specific colors. We want that pop off the road there, especially as people are coming into town.
You have 1,000 little stars up here at the top.
Those are current trees that are in place.
Oh, because I couldn't find any sign that gave me that.
No, those are the current, and then we were going to add additional to provide additional
And
screen.
what kind of trees are they, little stars or what?
I'm pretty sure those are pine. Those are white pine.
Oh, they're huge
They're
then.
white. No, it's not pine. They are birch. They're white birch.
White
That's what it is.
birch?
That's pretty sure that's what it was.
All of these
Am I wrong?
stars, every single star around here must have 30 of them.
There's a bunch of trees back there. All the stars that are on there were based upon the survey that was done when we originally put this together.
So we don't know what the trees are gonna be yet. We think they're birch. Is that what you're saying?
So
On
they
the
exist.
existing.
They're already
Yeah, they're
existing.
existing.
We'll, along with the height, when we go to P&Z, we'll identify those.
Yeah, we'll
existing
identify
trees.
everything existing.
I think something else too, not necessarily an ARB concern, but something that Jeremy will hold us to if we are in your approval and P&Z's approval, is we're happy to execute a landscape maintenance agreement to make sure that these trees actually, are maintained and are thriving instead of just,
That's
dots on a plan.
essential.
So,
That's essential.
May I? I'm Leslie, ARB. We'll start here. These aren't on your plan. These plants that are depicted in your rendering.
The one on the roadside,
Yep.
it's supposed to be grass.
Okay, so there's some things on these illustrations that aren't actually on the plan, so it's unclear exactly, is the plan correct or is your illustration correct?
Plan.
Yeah, for
Um,
landscape purposes.
The plan is for landscape purposes, yes. the plan.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is an accurate depiction of what's existing behind. Can we have an existing conditions? You said you already had it.
We had, I don't know if we still have, we have a picture. We have the before and after.
Last one's packet, too.
Last one? Jay, was it last month's packet?
Yeah, there was a before and after picture that we had from last time, and that shows some of it.
So.
Yeah, you have a smaller version of it? I have just a couple.
But I understand you have a survey.
Yeah, we have a survey. We brought
Yeah,
survey.
we
So
got-
could you send us the existing conditions? So Marion was asking
Yeah.
about the pines in the back.
Yeah.
There are no pines in this
Okay.
illustration.
Okay.
Um,
I got a Google Maps
Okay.
shot of it, so if you wanna, you can't get into the back though. It's background, it's just deciduous trees, I can't
That's
tell
farther
the
away,
species.
probably.
I've got a bunch of close-up shots if you want that around too, if you'd like.
Can I also request sweet peat mulch
Okay.
in the beds? And then we're gonna need a planting plan that has tree sizes.
Okay.
Like for all we know, you're putting in
Yeah, just like we discussed. Yep, we can do
for
that.
everything.
Okay.
Burning bush is, I think, illegal to plant. It's invasive. Are there slot drains that are in place already?
Not that I know of.
Because there aren't elevations to understand if you need slot drains.
Okay.
Again, I can't tell how many species you're removing to understand if like the conifers in the back are gonna provide screening.
Okay.
Where are your directional signs on the plan?
The first directional sign, is in the corner in the front here, and the second one is next to the dumpster enclosure.
Sorry, in the front, is that kind of by the third peak up? Does that make sense?
By the entrance right before the first parking space. Right-hand side.
Okay. And then is there irrigation?
Yes. There's current irrigation on site, and we plan on replacing that.
And then along the road, you have, it looks like 2 sweet gums, 3 sweet gums?
Yes.
And in the guidelines, we say that no 2 tree pits can be of the same species,
Okay. All right, we can switch those.
but we really need sizes.
Okay.
Okay?
May I ask Leslie a question so quickly? If you want to have cover from the neighbors, you're going to have evergreen, something that's not going to be deciduous at all. I hope we
Agreed.
have enough of the cover for the winter time too.
Yeah.
Right, I'm just saying that.
I think the 9 that we're adding in the back will be a healthy supplement to what's there today. And as I said before, we are happy to provide further detail on our landscape plan. What I'd ask, and if it's all right with all of you, like I said, we really appreciate the feedback and incorporated, I think almost all of it, if not all of it. If we can earn your approval and sort of, backfile with you all as the P&Z process carries on. We don't want to take up more of your valuable time on your agendas.
No, I think you guys are in a great spot to where we can give you a favorable report and just say the landscape's pending. And I think Leslie and I have done this before. Do you think you and I could work offline with them?
Yep.
And just
Great.
review stuff over email, PDFs and stuff?
Yeah.
And if, even if sometimes Leslie and I can just meet you guys at the site to hash it
Oh,
out
that's
and
great.
stuff. So,
Yeah.
so maybe we'll do that.
And you'll just briefly, some questions about drainage, and that'll be in our P&Z filing as well,
Okay.
so you'll see the full picture
The slot
in terms of
drains and-
engineering in that.
I've got a quick question. Is this fencing back here?
Yes, there's a fence.
Yeah, there's actually 2 fences,
Yeah, one.
back to back.
What are they?
They,
Stockade
Thank
fencing,
you.
okay. Stockade fencing.
They're both, I think one's 6 feet high, maybe the other's 6 feet, maybe it's 8 feet out.
yeah, it's somewhere between.
They're not in bad shape, but they're not in great shape.
With regard to the drainage, is that drainage being added?
Yeah, we will be having some drainage, yes.
Okay, so you'll need to do galleries or?
P&Z's gonna look at it from the standpoints of traffic, parking, hours, odors, they're gonna soup to nuts
Great.
on all this,
Okay.
including
And I'll be
drainage,
on the
because
purview of
they're ripping up the whole parking lot.
Yep.
And redoing everything. State of Connecticut's also gonna look at it because it's on Route 1.
Mhm.
So if the ARB and P&Z doesn't hold their feet to the fire, I'm sure DOT will.
Thanks.
And Jackie just handed off a picture of the fence if anyone
Oh.
wants. Jackie, are we allowed to pass along the phone?
Right there.
That's the existing fence, as seen from Jackie Kaufman for the record with Department of Terms. That's the existing fence that you can see from the neighborhood on the opposite side of Boston.
I don't get to see it. We have Leslie.
It's great. All right, guys, anything else?
Down there.
I think that was great. We really appreciate you guys taking into account all our feedback and being so thoughtful about it. So what will be is a favorable report. I'll send it to you, Jay. Perfect. Favorable report, everything except for the landscape. We're gonna have to hash out a few things there, some of the details, right? And I can recap those details in a letter for you. Do you want me to say it now again? Do you have most of it? Do you want me to recap in a
If
letter?
you recap the letter, that'd be best.
Okay.
Yeah, I can get it back to, since he's not here today, if
Okay.
you want, easier to get back to him.
Okay, sounds good, so I'll do that. That's it. Thanks, guys, good luck with planning and zoning.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Do you have their names?
I do have their names, let me check them too.
Jennifer
Jay
Morgenthau, Jay Klein,
Jackie
Colin
Kaufman,
Brand.
Jay Klein, Lauren, and Brandy Cavallio. I know, that's why I was like, it's like ridiculous.
At least it's not Littleton, it's Drive Club.
All right, next up, we've got ARB number 1 of 2022. It's Guideposts, Guidepost Montessori. Mr. Maslin, welcome.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Welcome to the new members.
Thank you. Can you, for the record, state your name, your relationship to the job, your company, all that good stuff?
I'm attorney Robert Maslin, as almost all of you know. Now all of you know. And I represent the applicant, which is, it goes by a couple of things, but it's going to be Guidepost Montessori. Is actually the name of the school. The entity is Guidepost A LLC. Now, you're having meetings in person. Everybody involved in this project is out of state with travel rules and exposures and all that kind of stuff. So unfortunately, I don't have anybody here with me.
Can you tell us who your clients' names are? Will all correspondences be going to you?
Well, that would be a good place. My direct contact is a gentleman named Matthew Knopf, Knopf. And he signed the authorization letter. And I can get back to you on an address because they have multiple addresses in different offices in different states. So if you're looking for a contact, I can provide that to Jeremy later.
Sorry, yep, great.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry,
All
I
right.
lost it.
So we filed the application, and with the new system, you should have everything in color if you have a color screen on your computer. There's a narrative, there's photographs of the existing site, there's an aerial photograph. I have updated, so there's going to be 2 versions of this set of sign plans. This is really a sign application, because the building has existed for probably, 15, 20 years, I guess, Jeremy?
Yes.
Most recently, it's been, in fact, for most of its occupied life, it was Triorient, which is a trading firm. The building was originally built as a showroom for a builder with offices upstairs. So it had kind of an open area, and the concept was an open area in the middle of the building. So customers or clients or whatever you want to call them would go in and meet in the showroom, and then they'd go upstairs and take care of whatever business they had to take care of. The problem was the builder never moved in, and it's always been used as an office building. Now, the zone happens to be an orphan. It's the design commercial zone, which is on the other side of the tracks. That's what the Goodwife Shopping Center is in. So we have these 2 properties next to each other, a deli, which you would say would belong in the DC zone. But an office building which doesn't belong in the DC zone. So the way it worked out initially was this showroom would have been allowed as kind of a mixed-use arrangement with office. But now, what do you do with it? So Guidepost comes along, and they want to buy the whole thing and occupy it as a Montessori school for little children. The problem is, that type of use is not yet allowed in the DC zone. It is allowed in the DO zone,
Which is what, Bob, for everyone?
design office. And the zone names and some of the different regulations and uses were, I would say, updated a few years ago and as part of the last 10-year plan of development and conservation, or plan of conservation and development. So anyway, we are asking the Planning and Zoning Commission to rezone this site from DC to DO, which would then allow the Montessori school, it meets the definition of a child care center, and that would then be allowed in the zone. So why am I going through this? Because the sign regulations were recently revamped, as you all know, and Jeremy asked me today to discuss, or be prepared to discuss the differences between the DO zone and the DC zone, and I put together a table for you all. So if I could, yeah, here, you didn't have to get this started. Did you just give me these ones?
Yes. I was going down.
You got it?
I stopped it too, I'm sorry.
There are a few, there are a few differences between the signs that are allowed, and I want to just say off the bat that we've put 3 different signs in the application. Jeremy might have something to say about whether you can approve all 3 of them. But to get to my chart, the way the regulations are now, you have these tables and different zones are categorized. So the DC zone is an automobile-oriented business zone. And the DO zone is an office district, different categories. So in the DC zone, you're allowed 1 attached sign per tenant, like Goodwife Shopping Center has, with a possible second wall sign, which really doesn't apply here. That's when you have multiple entrances and pedestrian ways and things like that. In the DO zone, you're allowed 1 attached sign per building, which may be a directory sign, and that's it. So there's no second sign available. And then you're allowed a detached sign. And so what this chart does, and what I did is I just took the relevant columns right out of the regulation. So these check marks actually appear in the regulation that way. So when you look under automobile-oriented district, you see everything's checked, which means there's a wide variety of signage. But when you go to the DO zone, you really cut down to a few things. Wall sign, a wall-mounted directory sign, hanging sign, monument sign, and another directory sign is a detached sign. But you're only allowed 1 of each, 1 detached, 1 attached. For some reason, the regulation has a maximum of 48 square feet or 0.67 square feet per 1 linear foot of building frontage in the DC zone in terms of the area of the sign. In the DO zone, there's no maximum sign area, but you still have to approve it. In the wall-mounted directory sign, there's a 7-foot max. We're not looking for that. But the other thing we're looking for is the monument sign, and in both of the zones, you're talking about a 20 square foot maximum sign area, and that takes care of that. The third sign.
By the way, so it's 2 signs. I mean, you're requesting 3 signs.
Yeah, we're going to end up with 2 signs.
Let me simplify this, yeah.
Right, Jeremy?
You're requesting 3 signs, you get 2 signs.
Okay, so
Let's jump into the proposal quickly. And everyone's seen it, Bob, so here, anything else you want to tell us that's not in our packets? Is there any changes that we are missing? Otherwise, we can just go right to comment and save
then go to
you
comment.
time, yeah?
Then
All right, let's go. Becca, how about Rebecca? You want to start with your thoughts? You gave a nod.
I'm really, Rebecca Morrison, ARD, I'm really excited that there's a Montessori going in, having gone through one myself. I don't get the need for such a large sign on the face of the building. It's a school, it's not even someplace that people won't understand once they go there once. That sign just needs to be, the scale is just way off. I don't mind the other two signs, as Liz said, choose one, but the scale itself on that building is really out of proportion.
I agree, completely agree. I do. It's just enormous.
Okay.
So I was also a little confused in the way it was detailed. It had a wood fascia called out in the detailing, but it looked like it would be mounted directly to the side.
It's pin mounted to the building.
Okay, so yeah, fascia is not an accurate.
Where did you see that?
And it's page 5, says partial section mounting detail.
Huh.
So the way that depicts it is that it would be as if it was mounted to a fascia board of some sort, which is not accurate.
Wood fascia, oh, I got it. You're talking about right over here.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So, but that's kind of just a detail. Totally agree that the sign is oversized for the facade and whether it's even necessary or not. I did have another comment.
Do you have anybody have any thoughts on how big? There was a sign there before, it was that Triorian sign.
But if you're doing a monument sign or a hanging sign,
Sorry?
if you're doing a hanging sign or a monument sign, that should be enough to acknowledge that this is the tenant in this building. I don't think you need it, and particularly.
Well,
I think
it's allowed.
I know it's
I'm
allowed.
not suggesting
You
that
know, it's allowed.
whether it's allowed or not.
Yeah.
I just-
You know, when you tell,
It's
when
fitting with
when the
her.
property owner looks in the regs and says, this is allowed, that's what they're gonna go with.
Where, it's not that it's allowed, I think it's just, it's the feel, the recommendation, it just doesn't
Follow.
fit it, it just doesn't, it's not, it doesn't fit into the scale, like the scale of the building, the type of building, the type of occupant going there, is that?
Is there
Exactly.
no, is there no maximum height
No,
permitted?
well,
I think
height
my
above
issue
the
is
ground or
height
height of the,
No, how does
Height off the
sign-
ground, I mean, part of my issue is
Yes.
the height off the ground.
you're allowed,
Now, obviously, the facade, there's no obvious other location to put it, but, yeah, in my opinion, the size and also the height off the ground is an issue.
the height, there's a couple of rules on height. Number one, it has to be attached to a portion of the building that's occupied by the business that the sign relates to.
Okay.
And the other, I think it's 15 feet up.
Right, so we're 19, right?
Now, the regulations also say that if you're replacing a sign, which is what we're doing here, you're allowed to replace the sign.
Do they have a priority list, Bob, what they like if they, of their 3 signs, what are their favorite 2?
The third one is the little swinging sign.
Is the hanging sign?
That's, right now, that has an address on it, it
Yeah.
says 76 Oakland Road.
If I would,
And that would,
if I would make one suggestion, if they're like adamant about having this, why not just do the logo centered over the center window gable? That to me is the visual cue. You don't need to say guidepost Montessori, but having the symbol, which is, I wouldn't say it's common on a Dutch gamble, but it's, you know, it's something that you see in a lot of instances where there's like, you know, like on the old barns, they have the symbols on the old barns, you know, things like that. That to me would be a cue, a visual cue. It would also be much more aesthetically pleasing, not compete on the scale of the facade. And then it again, it's to the point of the other members, it's a school that you're not trying to get customers in. So I think that would be the one suggestion I would have,
That's
is
a very good idea.
to just eliminate the text and use the symbols. While I'm on a roll,
Keep going.
the monument sign, which I don't have any major exception to the monument sign. I think the emblem's a little odd, you know, when it's placed on there. I do have an exception to the solar lights. Those things just don't pass.
I'm sorry, you know what?
The solar lights, we have 4 solar lights with the little solar panels on them.
Yep.
Why not run just a low voltage wire, you don't have to bury it too deep, from the building and do much more subtle light on there.
Like direct wire or not.
Yeah, yeah. I don't see the need for little solar
Well,
power.
that's kind of a design thing. Yeah, that's an installation issue.
Yeah, yeah, but
Because the look is not gonna change.
they designed the lights, and I don't have an exception to having lights on the monument sign. I think the lights that were chosen, though, are subject to damage, they don't last, and I think they're just not the right call for the monument.
I'll pass that along.
That's just,
I'm not-
again, that's
It's
subjective.
not really an architectural,
Well, it's part of the application.
well, it's the technical aspect of how the light works, but as far as, I think.
Doesn't change the design.
I think visually, the little
Change it
solar
from a
panels
wired-
are detracting from.
But it's the same, it could be the same fixture, it's just wired.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
that would be
All right.
acceptable.
Couldn't you, I was just saying, couldn't you,
Who's,
sorry, Rebecca
oh,
Morrison.
with this on, you can't tell who's talking.
ARV, couldn't you leave the monument sign where it is on the Tokenique Road? And then put the blade sign next to the door at the entrance on, in the parking lot, like off of the building near the front door?
The blade sign?
Yeah.
Make it a, like attached to the building?
Yeah.
Okay.
That might, that's where you're gonna.
Where it
I
sits
think
now.
that would
it's
be
too
allowed
busy.
then, wouldn't it, Jeremy?
Yeah.
As a
For
criteria.
So,
And it's to be too close to the,
Well,
And
it
there's a
says
fire,
Montessori.
there's
then.
an electrical pole right there. I like the idea.
I'm having a really hard time with two things. One is the sign, the logo, the lettering, all of that relating to the building, the architecture, it's just doesn't work in my
You
head.
talk about the wall sign?
The wall sign and even on the monument sign, I just don't think that sign works with the building. It's got two different things going on, and I also have really a problem with the 76. I don't think that shows up as an address on the monument sign. I know you need the number there, but I think it's odd, I think you,
oh, yeah, I didn't even,
yeah, it's
Yeah,
the
see.
numbers and it
I was
just,
letting it slide to
You
you.
mean
I'll
the
finish it
76?
anyway. If you allowed the hanging sign, I was gonna say, put the number on the hanging sign. So I was sitting here waiting and waiting and
I
waiting.
jumped in,
You don't want to make any comment about how many signs to keep or not, Sean, after
I don't
this.
know, I just wait till you get to the end, you know?
You're talking about this 76?
yes, I just don't know that you even, well, it's the same thing, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just don't think you're gonna notice that as the address.
Another question, I guess, just because it is a school, is whether it should actually have a more, like an awning or something like that over the front door for a child
Yeah.
to, mother to, you know, get her umbrella down, things like that, and then the actual sign goes on the awning. Because right now it does seem more like an office building, there's no clear distinction, even in that parking lot, to kind of a natural pathway for, if it's a younger child, that he's not stepping out into a parking lot. Like, at least if you had like an awning or something like that, that kind of depicted where that front door was a little bit more separated from the parking lot.
The building does have that eyebrow though. You know, it does have the other roof line midway comes, I mean, it's not deep, but it's like a foot.
Rebecca, are you talking about the front door or the back door? The front door facing Tokenique Road or the back door facing the parking lot?
I would think that, well, I don't know, it depends on where they expect children to go in and out. But I think that that's where the sign should be, right?
There's a door on the Did you actually use that one?
You wouldn't use the door on Tokenique Road, correct, Bob?
No. No, the entrance door is on the
I'm
side.
looking at the existing conditions.
Or the side?
The side seems like where it's where a
Yes.
blade sign, an awning, something that makes it a little bit more distinctive, because right now it does seem more like an office building.
You pull in the driveway.
I don't see it.
And you'll see a door on your right as you're pulling in. That's the entrance. There's no entrance door
On the road.
on the front of the building facing Tokenique Road.
That's right, because there's the door right there.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think that.
There's just that one
Where is
red
that
door.
gonna be enough?
For shelter.
Sorry?
Where does this door face?
Yeah.
It's
It
not-
faces the-
No, I-
it faces the
I don't know
deli.
how it works with the design.
Okay.
How about, how about,
That's facing the deli.
Okay.
this is the entry door here, that's the side of the building.
Right.
The front of the building has no door.
Right, so the side of the building, there's no,
More
you
facade.
know, if I was a mother of a young child, A, I would want the blade sign there, and B, you know, some sort of an awning, vestibule, some sort of, you know, even plantings that make it a little bit, less that my kid's gonna step from right off that door into a parking lot, might be a little bit,
It would look a
You
lot
have a play
better.
date, not a bunch of kids. They're trying to get.
So you,
Yeah, but maybe I'll just put, I'll put a note saying like, when, at some point, there's gonna be larger facade updates here, right? Planting, possible awnings, playground. Revisit us then with that information, we can maybe put that to the side, we'll stick aside
because
just,
all of that is site plan related.
yeah, but the facade updates, it falls in the ARB.
Yeah,
Sorry?
site plans and,
Oh.
site plans is part of ARB, as is the landscape.
Well, we're basically,
lighting, right,
yeah,
okay.
right, but we're basically talking about signage, because that's really.
Well, we'll stick to
The
signage today,
concept
but
here is not to change the site, other than to put a playground in behind the building where it's not visible from the street. And other than that, everything on the site stays the same.
okay.
Parking gets a little reconfigured, but, you know, it's not like a new building or an addition on an existing building.
All right, well, I'll put a note in my letter that says, if there are other facade updates, plantings, you know, awnings, fencing, right, all that stuff, that that comes back,
I think
which you're
that-
familiar with.
Robert, we have a very good suggestion about how that entrance should be, I think, in terms of protecting people and making a pleasant entrance for the children. And I think we have to get a good
Okay.
picture of that drawn out for the next time, don't we?
That's if they elect to do it.
If they do it, if they want to do it.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
true, but I think that, well, I don't
When they
know, I
start
think that,
looking at how they're planning out the spaces inside and seeing how kids are coming in and out of the building and even using the playground, they're gonna revisit this.
well, those are all site plan.
Right, right, but this is, I mean, it's tied into
that's part of
this,
what
right?
we look at. We look at site plan stuff, Bob.
That is what we do. I thought you'd be excited to come back, Bob. Don't
I'm
resist
always
it.
excited to
Don't
come.
resist.
And that we, and awnings is very important too.
I think in order for me, myself, to have a kid that was gonna be at this school, some sort of a more safe entrance than just what is depicted here in this rendering would need to be in place. And I would think that that is the natural place to figure that out and then come back and say, okay, this is where the signage is to go.
You cannot prove
Okay, so you're talking about an awning with a sign on the awning.
Probably, I mean, there needs to be a separation between just a front door and a parking lot if you have a small child.
Okay.
For sure.
Most schools have a certain kind of drop-off at the entrance that is sort of a
Oh,
safe
this will
zone,
have
right?
that whole, there's a whole process for that.
Right,
Yeah.
so, I mean, when you look at that whole process and look at all the revisions to the site that potentially could impact the building elevation, it should get tied into the signage of it, so it should look at it holistically.
Right, but so far, there's no plan to change anything on this facade of the building.
I can't imagine, well, I'm not the client, so I don't know.
Or maybe you could suggest it to them.
Well, should they change their mind, we shall see you. How's that? Okay.
But you don't like the wall sign anyway, so.
No,
Yeah,
no.
you know, what, looking at this, it's funny though, I was thinking about the wall sign, like, you know, it was weird too, because it was presented on the road, and if anything, it should have, not that it changes your idea of the logo, but like, it should have been presented like over the front door, like in the parking lot, versus where they did it on the road, you know? Like, the monument sign, to me, made more sense on the road, so drive-by people knew what it was, that was more, but like
I mean, one
if there
comment-
was a wall sign,
One
so.
comment is, I think the monument sign is actually bigger than the way it's represented in the rendering. I don't think that's quite scaled correctly. I mean, it's 4'8" by 4'4". And I mean, based on what my guess the width of that sidewalk is, I think it's probably actually a little bigger than it's shown. So that would actually be a little bit more prominent, and therefore that's what you're gonna notice, not a sign 19 feet up in the air.
There usually is a sign of some nature at the entrance of any building.
There has
So
to be.
where the wall sign currently is depicted doesn't make a ton of sense because
Okay.
there's no signage now at the front entrance of the building.
And are you, when you say, okay, the awning would be over the sidewalk at the entrance?
At the front door,
Would that be?
The red door.
the red door.
So you can get in the door without getting wet.
Okay.
Okay,
All
can I
right, so,
ask, are we talking about a pole sign too?
Well, the
Hanging
pole sign is
Not,
there.
not a pole sign, I mean the hanging sign?
The pole sign, hanging sign is there. Right,
But
they were
are
using
we
what was there.
reusing it?
That's your.
probably reuse, well, I'm sure they'll reuse it at least for the address, if not. The
Right, So
application,
the one that you have drawn has no address.
I know that, but I filed this application before we talking to Jeremy, I had a conversation with today.
Okay.
So that is, in all, unless they change their signs completely based on the conversation tonight, that's probably gonna go back to just an address sign.
And
Which it
maybe
is
leave
now,
the one that's,
76
and maybe leave the one that's there?
That's the one. We're talking,
Yeah, and
The one
leave,
that says 76.
leave it as an address sign.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think both signs should be the same thing, guide plus Montessori. I mean, why would you have two signs in a similar
Right.
location faced a similar way? I mean, if you're gonna do anything, I would move that to the wall like we suggested.
Okay.
But then if you're moving to the wall, that goes back to saying that like there should be a large wall sign, or there should be some main signage anyways,
Yes.
on the wall in the front anyways. Is a pole sign suffice for that, or do we recommend like an actual wall sign there?
okay, I like the sign that exists that says 76 Tokenie, leave it, don't change it.
You like that, you like the pole sign being an address? for an
As it
address.
is.
And I think it works with the building.
Yeah,
What do you guys
and then I
think?
think in comments to the gentleman to my left, his comments on the monument sign, and then take the other comment and remove the 76 from the side of it.
Right. It sounds like we have struggles with the scaling of the monument sign as is, and with the design, by the way. Right, the design seems to not connect with, the design of the monument doesn't seem to connect with the building's style as a whole. Didn't
Not at all.
someone, did people say that?
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah. I don't
Okay.
think it works at all.
Is there branding?
It's not clear either what it
Is it their branding? It's a good question, yeah. Is this their?
The branding is the color, the
Yeah, if you
G,
look at, if you Google them,
That's their
the
font.
blue and the beige.
Right, but is the black monument sign their branding as well, or
Yes.
would that be something that?
That's part of it for other, there's a picture of it in.
Yeah, I feel like the monument sign should be like, should relate to the building, like, should have a stone base or some sort of like,
Do they have any other schools?
with a metal siding.
I think it just fights
Yeah,
with the
that's
building.
Yeah,
their
100%.
typical monument sign, they would scale it, but
Oh, interesting.
typically.
Is there any other Montessori schools?
Except in this, here, they moved it, rearranged it so it's off to the side because of the dimension requirements here. Because what this does is it makes your area much bigger and it,
No.
because it runs you run it up, a rectangle up to the top of the logo of your sign area.
Bob, I think this whole thing is a full redesign. I know you don't want to hear, I think this whole thing is a full redesign and a rethink.
Okay.
I'm really sorry to tell you that. It sounds across the board like the
Oh,
design
so it
itself
sounds
isn't
like it.
connecting to the building, what they're presenting isn't relating to the building. So we have like overall design, and then the signs itself, we've got to get down to two of them, unless they decide the pole sign's gonna be
No,
just an
that's
address.
the.
Pole will stay an
It's not a
address?
pole sign, it's a hanging sign.
Hanging sign, okay. Unless that stays an
It'll be
address,
an
okay.
address sign, okay.
So that can be grandfathered in, sure. We can talk
Well,
about that.
that's just an address sign anyway, so.
Okay. So you'll re-present it as an address sign, not as a,
Yeah.
right, it's presented right now as a, yeah. Okay, so that, and then the other two signs, I think, need to be rethought and scale for the monument sign, design of it, and then a wall sign, I think they need to put a little more, just thought into where it goes and how it looks.
I think one of the things that is hard to do is take an existing picture of a sign
Yeah.
on a building and try to,
Knock it out.
Photoshop it in,
Mhm.
so it looks the way it's actually gonna look in the end. You can come close, but
Yeah.
But I think the discussion goes back to what you said earlier, I mean, the wall sign should be on a different face if the monument is on Tokenie Road.
okay.
Yeah, maybe they
And
can-
actually, I think if I recall correctly, if you're driving down Tokenique away from Route 1, the deli on your left, you're gonna, as you come around the curve, you're gonna see that wall
That's right.
over the red door before you see the Tokenique wall.
There's not much room there for a sign because the roof comes right down.
But if you did the logo,
Yeah, but if you do the logo in the center, under the windows, over the center double,
We're up in at the top.
center it above the
Yes, but
window,
there's
the center window, the line.
no, but it, I mean, how
So
big is
right
the
center,
Same
center,
place on the
red
wall,
door,
but around.
red door, window above it, logo right above that.
That's, I would have trouble with that because it's not an existing sign location now.
No, that's okay.
Well,
We're okay with that.
We'll help you
we
with
can
that.
take that.
So, have to talk.
But you don't have a monument out front right now either.
No,
Okay, so we'll trade you the wall sign for the monument.
but we're allowed both. The
Yeah.
regulations
Right, but we're gonna move you
specific.
from one side face to the other.
Oh. But
I just, I mean, you know, I think you ought to look at it from driving towards it, and I think you'll see the red, yeah, that's it, right there. That's the side you see, you don't see the monument.
Right, the only people that will see the front facade are you coming,
You won't see it. And I think the monument serves the purpose on Tokenique Road coming back from Tokenique. And then, no, show that. Because that's the side you see coming in. Because it's full on, I mean, the red door is right there.
Do you like the idea of them on a?
When you come out, so you're going north on Route 1 towards Norwalk, make a right turn on Tokenique. This is what you're gonna see.
I personally think they need I think they need awning. I think they need awning. I would still think they need.
See, the wall sign should be above the back face on, over the red door, but the monument on Tokenique,
yeah, I'm just not sure we get there because it's too high up there.
I mean, from here, I think you see it.
And then the rest,
It's lower than.
Okay, Bob, I'm gonna sum it up for you.
Liz, wait,
Not favorable.
one question. Bob's client has the gold with the blue and black, and the doors are red. Would it be helpful if he's putting an awning over a red door?
A black awning? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of the
Door?
suggestions, doing an
Black
awning,
awning?
and then you would brand the awning, right, with the logo and the name. Yeah,
God, this is,
yeah.
there's a bunch of design people that are
Yeah.
gonna crunch this, you know. think
It
this
sounds
through.
like, yeah.
Black awning with logo.
I don't think it would hurt for you guys to come back with options. If these guys aren't gonna be here and represent themselves, maybe you should come back with options.
Well,
Then,
a month from now,
No, you never
everything
see-
might
you see the
might
monument,
change.
you're
Right,
gonna
right.
go the other way.
You're, so far, you're it as far as in-person
You're not
meetings.
going away from
Yeah.
it on
You know, everybody else is,
Yeah.
Couldn't they contact us?
No, he's saying they've got other,
Zoning on top.
once they go plan and zoning, things might change enough anyways that you might have, it might be a different picture. I wanna give you some like tangible ideas, suggestions, but I don't wanna direct you in one way and then not have it work based on what you're gonna do and what the building is and maybe the color's not right. So I just think they just need to rethink the design altogether and come back with a start from scratch.
okay.
But leave the address.
Guidepost people.
Leave the address, leave the address on the outside.
How about we take the
But if they
building?
are
Wait,
gonna
you
do a
can
wall
have that right
sign,
now, all done.
if they are gonna do signage, put it on the side by the door. Forget the side facing the road.
Except maybe the monument.
Except for the monument, which needs to be scaled down, needs to relate better to the building.
Yep. good.
Okay, all right, I'm so sorry, Bob.
It's the usual,
I know.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's,
They've already branded it.
LLC.
All right.
change the logo.
Anything else you want to add, Mary?
That's not gonna,
I know,
I'm just getting a picture of the guidepost.
okay.
Okay, Bob,
So you'll get a letter in a couple of days,
yeah,
later about it?
I keep that in a letter. You're gonna look forward to delivering that to your client. All right, I'm so sorry, Bob, but thank you for coming in. Hopefully we gave you some direction, though. We have a better outcome. Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, guys. Get Joy, Airbnb number 2 at 1096 Boston Post Road.
What they have is they have a school, now they have a mortar board here.
Hello.
Hi, you know who you are. So you know the drill now.
I
Introduce
know the
yourself, what your title is, what your companies
So,
are.
Lisa Elwell, I work at Baywater Properties for David Genovese,
Can you spell your last name, please?
ELWELL. and I'm with Tom Eriks, owner of Get Joy, Darien resident.
Yes.
Some of you may know him. Hopefully you had the chance to read his narrative, which is such a cool story. And so he's bringing his brand to his first retail shop.
Great.
Yeah.
So hopefully you all have dogs.
Yes.
I'll give you a discount.
It's great. It's really, it's fun. I know that
I don't have a dog.
you did a pop-up, you
Yeah,
did the
so-
sidewalk sale, and everybody's been raving about it since,
So this is, we're a direct-to-consumer company. We have tested experiential pop-ups. We were here in town back in, I guess it was July, and it was awesome. So we did it up in Nantucket. We're doing it in Austin in a month for 2 months. And when Lisa and David brought this opportunity, I thought it would be a wonderful opportunity to tell the story and humanize the brand and do good for dogs.
So we recently had Authentic Athlete at 1096 move to another location, and we thought this would be a great location to give it a try. On the so what we decided to do was give him a new wall sign with the Get Joy name. And this location has not had a blade sign, and so we, love to do that for our shop, so we included that in the signs package. And we also added to the facade, there is not an existing gooseneck light, but we would like to do that above the wall signs to, make it nice and bright during evening hours. So that's, love to hear how your thoughts are on that.
Are there gooseneck lights on the other parts of that facade at all?
There are,
Because Morley, I don't see it on Morley.
on Morley, there is not.
Okay, but I
On
thought there was.
Compass, there are. Yep.
No, it's the same type? on
Correct.
Compass?
Just the classic gooseneck light, exactly.
Is it one or two?
One. Just one, right? On Compass?
Yeah.
Compass has 3.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I actually thought it could use possibly even more signage versus the one green circle above the door.
Right.
I love that you have that for the blade sign, I think that's
Yeah.
cool, but I
Yeah.
almost feel like you could have done Get Joy, like written it out in your font in pin letters and put like 2 or 3 gooseneck lights to call out more.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why?
Yep.
I agree.
We did actually mock that up,
Okay.
and we just, when we were working with it, and we just thought this was a fun, different way to bring a signage to the front as opposed to something that maybe we just see right next door, just to give it a little variety visual.
So I think the scale is cute, the goose lamp and the
Yep.
circular sign, but it feels lost
Right.
in the sea of wall
Yep.
that's there. So
Yep.
I think to your point, having something horizontal would have filled that space.
Yep.
Could even just go a backing, like a backing board, even if it was like white, but maybe have just a border.
What
I mean,
about
and then
having
that just is the central portion.
Right.
a
The-
horizontal and the green, and make the bench green, the same color?
The bench is gone.
The bench is gone.
That was
I
what
mean,
the
that will
Authentic
give you a
Athlete.
very strong horizontal as a bench.
If there's no bench.
So,
Well,
so
then they get a bench.
the,
That's all right.
the horizontal,
that.
so on our website,
You need a
the
bench.
Get Joy, the way it's laid out inside the green circle is exactly how it looks on the website. So we use it in a couple different ways. So that's really easy to do because that is the exact layout that we currently have as our logo, part of our logo portfolio.
You need a bench.
Horizontal.
So yeah, so it wouldn't be like perfectly horizontal. If it could be staged or staggered,
Yeah.
that would.
I think, yeah, whatever, but just to stretch it out a bit, because of that expanse of space, I think
Yeah.
We could definitely
it could fill it a little bit better.
tweak it to that.
Now, Lisa, this is phase 2 of the Corbin project. Phase 1 is on the north and east side of Corbin.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are working on that. David
Yep.
tells me he expects to be done with that phase
Yeah.
November, December this year,
Correct?
and then he'll go across the
Yes.
street this time
Yes.
next year.
This time next
Yes.
year, this will all be coming down.
Right.
So this is all very
So
temporary.
whatever you approve
Yeah.
will be gone in 365 days.
Exactly.
That's what it's
Tip time for counting.
Well said.
Exactly.
Whether the signs are inside or outside. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, because that removes the.
So would you like us to send you a rendering with it as a
Sample report
horizontal?
with that change, yeah, send us a
Okay.
render PDF, and
Yep.
Great.
that's good, right?
Yep.
And if
then
we- and
if the logo goes more horizontal,
Yep.
look at
We'll
the
put,
lamps.
we'll put more
Maybe
lamps
two.
on.
Maybe two.
Yep,
Right. Okay.
we can do that, but I can have it to you tomorrow.
Easy. You
Okay, so
already had that laid out.
I'm
Got
not gonna write you a letter until we get that then, so I'll
it.
just.
You don't need it,
just-
I'll get it
Perfect.
to you first, and then you can all look at it, how's that?
Good job, Lisa.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
You're welcome.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much for your time.
Appreciate it.
Have a nice evening.
All right, last one of the day, federal. Oh,
Yes, we-
yes,
I'm
yeah, I was
back.
like,
Yes.
I was so, I was like, I was wondering where
I'm
Patrick
just
or
hanging out
Sarah
for
was,
fun.
okay. All right, so we're gonna go ARB number 3,
Yes.
2022. This is Federal Realty Heights Road, our large commons project there. So state your name for the record, state
Julie
your company
Brock.
and your role.
Yeah, Julie Brock, BROCK, tenant coordinator for Federal Realty. I work for DNA, so I'm actually a consultant, and I work for Development Management and Associates is the name of my company. So this next submission is for louvers in the already submitted storefront designs that we have done. So in full transparency, just of any changes that needed to happen within the storefront visuals, we wanted to get these in front of you. These louvers are required by code. And now that we have engineered, we went through the design process first, of the facades of the storefronts, color palettes, glazing, all of that, door locations. And now we've gone through the engineering of it. So we need louvers for fresh air intake and exhaust. And to be super, super clear, when I say exhaust, this is not like kitchen exhaust. There is nothing that will be of any sort of pressure going across the ped path of any kind. That all goes up to the roof. This is literally just airflow that's needed by code.
It's the HVAC per retail unit.
Correct. Yes. So also R1 and R3 are designed differently. So if you look at the facades, R1, because of that there's an embankment in the back of landscaping, we're unable to take these louvers through the back. So we must go through the storefront. And R3, we utilized the back as much as we possibly could. There are a few that do land in the front facades, facing the front, but we tried to push those all to the back as possible. It's a little bit of a conundrum to some degree because by code, they need to be 10 feet away from each other. So we have all stabbed our eyeballs with forks rather than we've gone through this a lot and have put this puzzle together the best that we can, making them as minimal as possible. And they are designed as minimal in size as possible as well too. And in the package, you guys, we've done some precedent images just to show you they're super, super simple louvers. And we walk amongst them all on a daily basis as we do now. We probably don't even notice them. But again, in full transparency, we just wanted to show them to you. Open to any and all questions.
I'm sorry, Marion Castell.
Yeah.
I'm ignorant again about some of these colors. They don't match the palette here and what I'm seeing in the pictures.
So that
This is a brown, all along, I've been looking as I go along, and they're not quite the same. I don't know where this color came from. Is it supposed to be this palette here?
So that
It
was
doesn't
done.
look like it.
That was done in the previous submission of the storefront palettes that were shown, and and I'm so sorry, I think they are listed as, I'm sorry, Jeremy. Yes, thank you so much. In that previous submission, if you recall, there are We have them called out in that submission of palette 1, palette 3, palette 2, things like that. So they're identified there. But this is
the actual color that we're talking about right now, is brown?
that
I don't think so. If
is-
you look at the materials, I think that's just a rendered representation of.
Okay.
Correct.
I think Julie and I discussed it. Whatever the facade got approved for, the louvers will be it'll be the same color.
We are not
Yes, it's in the same
changing
color.
anything with the
No color
original
change.
storefront facade submittal or approvals at all. This is only adding in louvers, you guys. We're not changing
No, I
anything.
shouldn't bring it up, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I don't need to, I just couldn't understand why it didn't match.
Our louvers always brought them through the glazing. I feel like when I've seen buildings used before, they've brought in through the actual, the structure itself, like we're working through the framing, the central
It's done
framing.
both ways. It depends upon how the building is designed and the infrastructure of the design. This building, this base building is not designed that way. Simply because we have a break of retail at the bottom and residential at the top. So
I mean, it's
you will
not,
see it if you.
I don't think even alternative, it's not
We don't,
attractive.
we don't.
I don't know what you see, but is that normal, Alex? or-
It's kind of normal.
It's actually,
Large commercial.
You might
Yeah,
actually-
and, sometimes it can be thought through in terms of the holistic design, but, I mean, you've got a lot of tenants here. You got a lot of spaces, you gotta.
And there's not like a whole mechanical.
That's right.
area.
No, it's
That's
like
correct.
it's, concrete podium with stick built above, so you don't have the space to carry all the HVAC in the middle.
correct, yeah. And we will do, the louvers will be part of the brake metal cover, so they will be as camouflage as possible. It's not like we don't want to call attention to them either, nobody really does. So they will be as camouflaged, built in, go away, same color.
Yeah, I also think once, tenant signs are up and blade signs are up and there's other sort of visual activity at the storefront, your eyes are not gonna go to that louver, right?
It's
You're
true.
seeing it right now in this.
Yeah, you might be surprised how many louvers are out there once you
That's
start
right.
looking.
If you guys go around the world now and have this in your portal, you know what I mean? If you're like, oh, let me look for louvers, you will be surprised at how often you see this. We just don't even pay attention to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I have one question, just
Sure.
as an idea, and it's engineering, on the R1 building,
Yes.
all the way to the right where the driveway, the sidewalk goes up, can you move that one louver on the left window to the side?
On the hold on just a second, I just tried to look my notes with
Yeah,
my,
elevation C all the way to the right.
Was also elevation D questions, whether can you move to elevation D above the steps? There's a couple windows there.
Oh, so it doesn't like go halfway
That's
through
just
that
one.
storefront?
Correct. Oh, there's one there. Maybe not.
Well, this is
Yeah,
space.
that is part of the entry.
so I will look at that, absolutely, but again, it's sort of that code compliant, how
Yeah, I
far
see the
things
other one,
need
'cause
to
you
be.
gotta
Yeah.
enter and exit.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't
So
know.
if federal review's
I'll
coming to
move
show us and be nice, but they're really like, don't change anything because we can't. So
I know,
I was just seeing if you could move it up.
it's kind of true. I just wanted to hang out with y'all tonight, yeah.
Okay, approved.
I guess the question I would have is if the tenant decides to change louvers to like slats or something like that, can they modify this? I mean, once these are going in, that's kind of it? Or is there some kind of room for the tenant to influence the design of these elements?
The tenant in this case is actually the landlord, so we will keep them as consistent, so no, the answer to that is no.
Okay.
Any of the tenants like Pizzeria Malto that will be coming in soon to show their facade, I'm just using a tenant for example. You will see theirs and where theirs are too. So any of the tenants above and beyond this, but these are landlord-provided storefronts. So they cannot change them.
With landlord-provided HVAC systems.
Correct.
So they can't move. Once
Yes,
it's in,
exactly.
in.
That's right. Yeah, these are in place and designed per how I need them engineered with my MEP team.
So
per
why
these
are-
spaces.
Why are some marked as storefront designed by tenant?
Because those storefronts, like Pizzeria Molto, I'm not providing that storefront. That will be a tenant-provided storefront. And so that design will come to you guys at the time for review and approval.
With the grills in it.
With the grills in it,
HVAC.
exactly. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then once the first tenant puts it in, they leave 5 years from now, that HVAC system is there permanently.
Exactly.
The next guy gets it the way it was designed.
Exactly.
Welcome to the world of permanence.
Yeah. Yeah. And that sounds a little weird with tenant, we're providing these for tenants, but some tenants are doing their own storefronts.
Because they signed up early.
Exactly, yeah, or they want to have control over the design themselves, or whatever it may be, so.
Yeah, if you don't mind checking on that unit 116, because, I mean, a number of these spaces only have one mover, so I don't think it's like a pressure intake and an exhaust. So I'm not sure why you'd have to have two for that one, two separate louvers for that one unit.
I'll check it.
Just the,
I would pull it off the front patient, which would be nice.
And absolutely will, yeah, if we can, so
And
I'll,
obviously on the left end, there's a concrete wall, is there? Down past,
It's not like a router that I think of.
left of.
So it's a different.
I will have the engineers look into
This
it.
is a concrete wall.
This is the stores, that's
Yeah.
To the right of 116.
Right here, what's this right here? Is that a concrete wall? Or is that a
is
walkway
it the
that goes up
parking,
and outside?
those are the parking garage, what are you looking at?
This one, these things here.
Oh, look at the louvers over there.
That's the part, that's the entry to the park.
Yeah, I know, but what's right here on the side?
There-
We moved out to the
Guys, can you
left.
just tell Julie to look into it? Are we gonna solve it here, or
I
can we tell her
will.
to take a look?
But I think you're looking at there's a corridor on the side of that space.
Well, all right, so the same thing again. If we're looking at the one on the right, move it off to keep the fascia clean. And these louvers be moved off to the left side.
But then you're putting them along the road, yeah.
No, right here on the side, right here.
Yeah, that's, yeah, it's
so
visible from.
You walk over there and get your hair blown over as it comes up.
Your hair won't blow. I'll ask about it.
One other minor comment is elevation G, looks like unit 322. You have a block of 3 windows, and there's 2 with louvers and 1 open. I'm just wondering whether it's better to just make all 3 louvers, which we've done in some other places. I get it where you have a block of 3 and only 1 is a louver, and you want to leave as much window open as possible, but where it's only leaving 1.
I hear you on that. I think that from a retail standpoint, they would always want glazing and light to come through instead of having a fixed panel, because they're gonna have to block off that panel and not utilize it, so it'll just be sort of blank from the back, so.
We're not doing drop ceilings inside the retail space?
Some will, but a lot are
They're
leaving.
leaving it all. open.
Exactly,
Yeah,
yeah.
because that's the only time it would
Yep.
make sense, right, to
Yeah.
have it glazed.
I'll take that back to the design team too,
Just
and
kind of stick.
Dave, what was that
Yeah.
second unit? It's 3 what?
322,
322, okay.
yeah.
All
Well,
right.
why don't you have like, instead of 2 side by side, 1 left, 1 right? We could go all the way around on this.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what the duct tape is.
Julie, thanks for coming back and
Absolutely.
showing us.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
make note of those 2 units.
You
and
got it.
we'll report.
Yep, and next month I'll report back on that, or I can send over an email if you guys want me to, but.
Okay, yeah, you got it, sorry. Yeah, email's definitely good, sorry, I was thinking something else.
Yeah, no
Okay, thank you, Julie.
Thank you, Jeremy, do you want this back?
All right.
Okay. Have a good night, you guys, thank you so much.
For what color? What color?
Do you want me to stack these back?
No, they're great,
Okay,
they're good.
okay.
They talked about that.
I should have bought the sourdough and become quite the sourdough over guy.
It happens.
Good night, you
Another
guys.
way to,
Good night.
another way to do this is to change the material on the crosswalk, to glaze it, right, or, so there's You see where the curb cut
What's
is?
up?
Yeah.
These should be,
So it's changed the
These should be-
material here and here. to
Right.
sort of
Like a
warn
fixture.
the
Ice cream,
because
the ice cream place, yeah.
has to be key
Have
to
they
that.
definitely gone with it, where they have many different color schemes?
Technology.
That yellow one was their original one, and I think it's probably what their
From
name
where
was for,
the
like their
curb
original
cuts
Upper West Side location. But they
not
have one I think is
necessarily
minty.
this.
They have a minty one?
They have a minty one that's like really cool, really well done in Hudson Yards, because they actually did subway tile on the inside, and it was really, really nice.
So they don't.
Would've been nice to know 2 meetings ago.
I know.
There's gonna be a lot of.
Motion to
That ship
approve
has
on that.
sailed right now, but yeah, that'd been nice to know.
But is that like, I mean, is that just their, I wasn't sure about like, branding.
On
Like,
next.
is that just their non-specific branding? Like, do they come in with their?
What are you asking, like, are we allowed to change our branding, or like, I'm missing?
Probably part of the guidelines.
Guidelines, got it, all right, okay. I was just learning, I'm
Yeah.
learning.
Well, yeah, that'd been nice to know, because Marion wanted to change that color, the yellow on the van.
Well, no, yeah. Can I make a comment? I like all of your opinions. The look of that wall, the color of that wall is so repulsive. It just drives me crazy coming in here.
The walls up here?
Yeah.
Right, no, you're talking,
The whole room.
The whole room, the whole wall.
So she's looking at that one the
Yeah,
whole
I think
time.
it'd be really the exterior
And I've
color,
got to say,
right?
I think what I want to
On
do,
a nice
I'd like to give, Jeremy, I'd like to give some town money to repaint it.
oh my gosh.
Can we do that?
No, okay.
I can't be more serious. I realize this is on TV,
Oh my God, I'm sorry.
but let's just say the town has 20,000 residents,
Yeah.
and that's not a possibility.
So there'll be no wall painting.
Okay, motion to approve the draft minutes from last month.
Thank you. Minutes approved?
Yeah, and it's.
Everyone in favor, say aye.
Yes.
Anyone not in favor? Okay, other business. I just wanted to introduce our newest member, Anya Janis. Anya is, she's an expert in design and style, well, in the residential space a lot, but growing the commercial. And she's also gonna be our branch, one of our new push for preservation and proper restoration in town. She's got a niche for that, so I know Rebecca also kind of leans on that, and so do I, and Marion, of course. So as we continue to push for that in our commercial areas and stuff. We now have a new expert.
Thank you, thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Are we full house today?
Yes.
What's that?
Whoa.
It is awesome. So we're gonna continue meetings in person. They just go better in person, right? It's really hard to do these kind of meetings over,
Oh, fine.
so. Clients have asked me in the last couple weeks if they could come if there's remote, and I just wrote back, no.
No.
That's the email they get. So we'll continue this, I hope you guys can still make it. You should have, actually Jeremy, I didn't get that, copies, I should have brought a signed copy of our agenda for the year.
Calendar, I'll email it out.
Calendar?
Would you email it the third Tuesday of every month? It's set. So you guys have tried.
Wait, before you send it out, can you add the stenographer to each date?
I guess the problem is, I keep it, I can email that to you guys, the problem is, people change on me. Like someone left, like last year I set it up, but then like a person left, someone got added, someone got sick, the meeting didn't get changed, so it kept getting messed up. But I will send that again. I'll send it right now, what it looks like for the year,
Perfect, with the calendar?
with the calendar, I'll
Are
send
you
it.
saying that the calendar is the second Tuesday, we don't have a calendar anymore?
No, I have a calendar, but I'm just saying out loud that it is the
Okay.
third
Well,
Tuesday of the month.
I never had one.
We sign it, and I usually give a print copy by December's meeting, or
I
was it
know.
December? I don't remember December's packet.
I didn't find it in the packet. I
Yeah,
was-
send it
I
out.
thought I had it. I got it.
Before the night is out.
Oh, okay, great.
Okay.
All right, so yeah, and then I'll follow up with, I'll get you a copy with whoever the note taker is.
I know I'm on for next month, at least according to my handwritten notes on one of the calendars.
Well, that might be right, so it should be Riley tonight. It was, you
So we
swapped
switched.
with
I did
the,
a double swap.
so after Riley is,
I was up next in February.
yeah, so
Okay,
it's,
yeah.
so it might be, yeah, I think we go back to the beginning alphabet with Brown. That's right, yes. It's Brown, yeah, so you're probably up next month.
That's what I have written, that's.
Yeah, good, all right. All right, thanks, guys. It's 8:30 PM. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.